from Rice University and a couple other places has made the assertion, and it technically seems to have a lot of merit, that the actual exploratory process artificially fouls the nest or contaminates the aquifer. So you get artificially high numbers that then reprecipitate or essentially drop back down to what the groundwater quality actually is. They're pretty extraordinary filings, and we're interested to see how this develops. So the issue of setting proper baseline is something that is really necessary via the regulatory process and has not been required.
Question for Eric.
Sure, Bob.
The Human Rights Commission, is it going to hold a public hearing or any kind of a debate on your petition?
We've asked for a public hearing on this.
What do you think it might be?
It's hard to say. My understanding of the Inter-American Commission process is that it can be fairly lengthy. So it's anybody's guess. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
EMA with facts. Exactly what does the commission, exactly what power does the commission have over an agency of the United States?
Well, the United States is a signatory to the American Declaration and a member of the Organization of American States. So in theory, well, actually not in theory, in fact, it's bound by the provisions of the American Declaration. Whether or not the United States is going to honor its obligations under that treaty is really the $64,000 question. Our hope is that the United States is going to honor its human rights commitments should the Commission find that it isn't doing so already, and I don't think they will. But yeah, I mean, enforcement of international law with respect to the United States has always been a problem.
What would they attempt to do, the Commission, if they found in your favor?
I think it depends. What we're asking for is that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission essentially suspend HRI's license until such time as one, the surrounding abandoned uranium mines and mill waste has been completely remediated. Two, prior to any mining, that the NRC require the mining company to set or to determine baseline groundwater quality and hydrogeological conditions consistent with international standards. And three, that this license be suspended until such time as comprehensive health studies have been done in the area.
Does the commission have to decide whether to admit the petition or not?
That's correct. Admissibility is the first step. So the Inter-American Commission will determine whether we've met the technical requirements and whether the facts we've alleged meet the threshold for human rights violations. And at that point, once the admissibility determination is made, if it's deemed admissible, then we'll go on to a determination on the merits.
What kind of response have you had from HRI to your concerns? And is there determination, if it exists, to still to seek uranium as strong as it was before the earthquake in Japan?
Right. First, the mining company has said that it stands by its process. That's the only thing I've read. You know, the company's industry, HRI in particular, and the uranium mining industry in general, puts a lot of faith in determinations by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission because they've got somebody on their side. So they're resting on the determination by NRC that this is a safe project. So that's their position still. I'm sorry, I forget the.
Is demand for uranium continuing to be strong following the earthquake in Japan?
That's unclear. The market's still shaking out now. with uranium, like any aspect of the nuclear fuel chain, is completely contingent on government policy. The nuclear industry wouldn't exist without government largesse. I mean, it just wouldn't. So the demand for uranium is going to be contingent on whether, specifically in Asia, they continue to build nuclear power plants. Japan, is my understanding, has at least preliminarily said that it's going to forego any future nuclear power plants. If that, in fact, is the case, and in fact that position holds, it may put a dent in the demand for uranium. Now, you also have to understand that that a lot of this, a lot of the uranium price is driven by speculation. That the World Nuclear Association Red Book has said that for the past 5 years that expected demand for uranium from nuclear power plants can be satisfied without any new uranium mining. Sir,
Quick question, Manuel with Greenwire. Just to clarify, all these proposals are ISL, right?
All of these are ISL, yes.
And then, do you hope to set, for whatever outcome comes out, especially if it's favorable, any precedent for all the other numerous uranium projects around the U.S., especially in sensitive sites?
That would certainly be our hope. I think that again, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has operated in the shadows for far too long, and once this international spotlight is on it, perhaps it'll begin to change its regulatory practices, at least with respect to indigenous communities. Hopefully all communities.
If there are no more questions, thank you very much for coming today, and we'll continue outside if people have some follow-ups.
Sure, absolutely. I'm happy to talk one-on-one with folks.
All right. Thank you.
Jeffrey, how do you spell your last name?
Fettus, F-E-T-T-U-S. I'll give you a card. It's Jeffrey with a G.
Oh, thank you.